And so there's the other one that you want to talk about was the comments by Will Ospreay. Now there's a couple. There's the one you had, and then there's the one I saw.
Okay, now look, here's the standard. Jeff Hawkins has been at work all day, so he didn't really listen to the comments. He's read the transcription, and the transcription could be incorrect. And there's already two different versions of this quote on the transcription. But here's one of them. Will Ospreay says AEW smokes WWE in every field of wrestling. We smoke them in every field of wrestling. Like, we're just better. I respect every single one of them there. They all know what they're doing. They're great at their job. They understand getting people on their feet. But we're so much more better of a wrestling company than them. Then this other one is our guys smoke them every single day of the week. They got good guys like Gunther, great guys like Randy Orton, good guys like Chad Gable. I respect all of them, but on our worst day, we smoke all of you guys. My comment originally was every field of wrestling, huh? Well, promos and angles and media are a part of wrestling. Do they smoke WWE in every field of that? Not really.
No. And I mean, and also, like, the
he
thing
thinks
is,
this is real. That's the problem here.
Well,
this is
no,
what I said to you pre-show.
He thinks that the most important part of pro wrestling is the in-ring wrestling action.
Yes.
And that may be true where he works, but that's not necessarily true in the business as a whole. And it's certainly not true. And it's certainly not true in WWE.
Right.
So what I found interesting about that comment, can you reread the part about Gunther and Orton?
Oh, this might be a misquote. Too,
no,
but this is how it is in the tweet from WrestleOps.
Yeah.
Our guys, brackets AEW, smoke them WWE every single day of the week. They've got good guys like Gunther, great guys like Randy Orton, good guys like Chad Gable. Okay.
So I thought it was funny that Will Ospreay, refers to Randy Orton as great. And I agree with that. And so he's basically putting Randy Orton on a pedestal above everyone else in that company, essentially, in that comment. And I find that funny because I've had arguments with people. I won't say where they're from, but you can guess. And they will claim that Randy Orton is the most overrated wrestler in history. He's terrible. He's nowhere near a Hall of Famer, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, 15 years ago, Larry Matysek put him in his 50 greatest wrestlers of all time. That was 15 years ago. He's better now than he was then.
I have a theory on this, though, Paul.
Okay.
If you'll indulge me.
Okay.
And it's like any other art form kind of a thing. It's not just a wrestling thing. Comedy, I've done this too. You put guys who came before you on a higher pedestal than guys who are your peers, who are very good. You know, like for me, I think this is more of a Randy Orton was a guy I watched as a kid, and he's a legend. He's great. Gunther's a guy I've had matches with in various indie promotions across the world.
I'm surprised you didn't mention AJ Styles. He may have just forgot him.
But yeah, it's the guys who are over, and it's, hey, we can't announce everybody. Please hold your applause while I read the roster of WWE.
He's always proclaimed to AJ was like his hero growing up, and that's why he does Styles Clash. And
I don't fault him for this. This is extemporaneous. So
yeah, Fernando has an interesting point here, and I've seen this point a lot, and a lot of people agree with it. The in-ring action of AEW is superior to WWE. Now, I'm sure that's true for Fernando and for a lot of other people, if that's what you like. I will say that depending on what kind of wrestling you're looking for, you may think the WWE action is superior because you may watch AEW and think none of this makes any sense. These moves, nothing resonates. It's too fast. And this is a complaint I've heard and seen, and this is from people that have been watching wrestling for a very long time. What hit me, I want to point this out. They've done these party matches over the last couple weeks, months, really. I mean, really 5 years. But there was one, I think it was last week, where AR Fox was in it. I can't remember who else was in the match, but AR Fox was part of it. Bailey was in it as well. And there were two guys that were in the ring and they were doing whatever they were doing. And the camera was focused on them. In the background, you see AR Fox standing up on the outside, just watching the action, reacting to it, going like this, like putting his hands over his head, like, oh, well, that was like, he's like, and meanwhile, Bailey was doing what he should be doing and selling whatever put him out of the ring. And then I watched the 4-way on SmackDown, or no, it was on the pay-per-view on on Sunday. Yeah, on or Saturday on Backlash. And those guys, when there were two guys working in the ring, the other two guys were outside the ring, but they were down. You couldn't see them. They were, they had probably done a move. Somebody had thrown them out of the ring. They had gone through a table, whatever it was.
The camera's not looking for them, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. Or they're looking for the camera to see, okay, where's that camera? I'm not going to be in that camera's view, while I'm just sitting here doing nothing. Obviously, guys are sitting around doing nothing during these 4-ways. That's just a standard thing, but they shouldn't be on camera. So my point of all of this is, when I was looking at that, I would be like, okay, I like this 4-way better than I like the 4-way on, I think it was Collision. It might've been Dynamite, because of this reason. Someone else like Fernando or Maria or anyone else, and a lot of people, don't get me wrong, I'm not singling them out, would look at AEW and these moves are awesome. This is great. It's so fast. It's unbelievable.
The people who went to Super Indies.
Yeah. WWE is so slow. They do a move, they sit there for 30 seconds and they don't do anything. And, and the crowd goes, this is awesome, while they're just sitting there doing nothing. And that's what their fans want. And that's what they're giving them. AEW is doing this. And I think they're both great. And I like them both when they're done well. When I see something like AR Fox staring at the action, I don't like that. But 90% of the time, I love the AEW matches. There's stuff in WWE that bothers me too. When the guys, are when they don't even do anything and they're just sitting there and it's slow. When they do a 30-second, or when they do a 4-minute entrance and then they do another 4-minute entrance and then they do 30 seconds of action, then they go to commercial. Bothers the hell out of me. There's things about both that I don't like. There's things about both that I do like. So,
yeah. I mean, I'm not going to have this debate necessarily.
No. That's not the point.
But I mean, I watched a friend of mine who doesn't watch a lot of wrestling text me how much he loved the Pat McAfee match because he got so emotionally involved into it, and he loved the promos, and the match was great, and he's like, yeah, McAfee, McAfee's not the best wrestler in the world, but he looked like he was fighting the guy, and okay, cool.
And he shouldn't look like the best wrestler in the world. He's in there against the best wrestler in the world, and he's untrained punter.
Yes, I mean, we'll talk a little bit about Sabu later, but but it's one of those things where it's like, I don't need to rehash this argument all the time. It's for me, it's just one of those things where it's like, as a TV product, there are times where AEW overstays its welcome on the long 25-minute opening match with all the moves and stuff to get to the single point of the angle at the end of it.